Welcome to Joy of Business Radio, hosted by Joy of Business facilitators from around the world, with special shows from Simone Milicis, the founder and creator of Joy of Business. Are you bored or dissatisfied with your work or business? Joy of Business is an invitation to a completely new way of creating. Did you know your business and job can actually be fun and joyful? If what you are currently doing isn't working for you, listen into this show full of pragmatic tools from Access Consciousness, which change everything in business, from money to finance, staff, creativity, productivity, communication, and beyond. Joy of Business Radio, weekly on OMTimes Radio.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Paul Kearney here, Access Consciousness Certified Facilitator and Joy of Business Certified Facilitator. And this week I'm joined by the amazing David Kubis, and David is also a Joy of Business Facilitator. And we're going to be talking about how business can be a source of change in the world. So it's a pretty exciting topic, and I'm excited to have David on. So David, you're very welcome. Great to have you here.
Hi, Paul. Thank you for having me as a guest today, and welcome everyone.
Yeah. So, David, when did you get started in business, or were you always interested in business? And what was the fun things for you?
Well, I actually got started in business when I was 14 years old because I wanted money. I wanted more money, so I started business as a teenager. And for me,
cool.
it was actually not business. It was actually doing what was fun for me, and the desire. Actually, I wanted to have all the things that I wanted, and I didn't want to ask my parents. So I just started small businesses, selling things, taking dogs for a walk. I mean, everything that young people do anyhow. I just started charging money for it.
I like that. Yeah, I like that, because for me, when I was around 14 or 15, I was working in a golf club, and I started selling. I used to have to clean the rivers and the streams, and I used to find golf balls, so I used to clean them up, and then I set up a business selling golf balls, and it became quite successful. Yeah, so it was. There's always interesting things in business, and. Then were you always very independently minded, David? Were you always looking to do things yourself, grow things yourself, know more about the world?
Well, I personally don't like to ask other people for permission, especially when I know what I want to do and what I want to create. So I was always keen to do everything as independent as I could. And this is what helped me. Getting those things done that are not as much fun as the business itself, you know, the back end, the back of the house stuff, putting the system in place. I mean, every business has areas that you just have to do them, and they're not as much fun as the business itself, but they are part of it. So it helped me getting over that avoiding stuff, because I knew if I get that done, then I have my freedom, and then I don't have to ask anyone, and then I don't depend on other people. So that was my idea of running my business, to even look at those things that are not fun, because at the end of the day they are a contribution, and I wanted to concentrate on the fun part. And well, sometimes there is just something that needs to get done, and you have to do it. If you avoid it, it takes away the whole fun part, and you start questioning yourself. You start looking into, should I do something else? If you just get it done and get over it, you're free again and creative again, and then you have fun again. That was my experience with my desire for freedom.
Yeah, and I see that you have a new business academy being launched, which is looks very exciting. And I'm wondering if you could tell us a bit more about that and what that's going to entail.
Well, the business academy, that's actually that product that I developed out of that desire. The business academy is a class where I will talk exactly about those things in business that are not fun for most people, but in order to run a successful business, they are essential. I'm talking about all these systems that you have to have in place. I mean, if you run a business, you have to pay taxes. If you want to deal with companies, you have to be able to issue an invoice. And you have to have a certain accounting in place. You need to have a way to track your expenses. You need to have a way to track your income. You want to have financial awareness over your business. And that includes areas, and I'm really honest here, that are not fun for me. And still I have to at least be willing to look at it and to set it up and to know what's required. I hated doing accounting, and I still hate it. And if you ask me to issue an invoice, if I have to do it on my own, it takes me forever. I did something else in my own business. I created so much that I really easily can afford someone to do that for me. But I also noticed that in order to pay someone to do something for you, you should actually know what you pay for, and you should know what to ask for. So I know exactly what's going on in my business. Also the non-fun part, that doesn't mean that I have to do it all the time on myself, but I'm at least aware of it. And this is what I actually want to talk about in the Business Academy. What areas of your business do you need to be aware of, and what areas of the business you should not ignore and avoid, like the taxes, getting a business license, filing for VAT, all this back-end work that is not as fun as facilitating or doing whatever you do or creating or designing, but it is part of the business. And my personal experience was, once you stop avoiding these areas, once you stop going into distraction and into, oh, this is heavy, when you get that done, it's not a limitation anymore, because you know it's handled, you know there's nothing you avoid, and then you can actually go in full creation mode back to what's fun for you. And this is how even taxes and accounting can be a contribution to your business when you stop avoiding it, when you stop fighting against it, when you just find a system in your business that works for you, so you have more ease doing what's fun for you. That's actually, for me, you have to look at the whole big picture, and if you want to create big, you'll need these systems in place. So the idea of the Business Academy is, first of all, give people information on what they need to look at, what part of this reality is required to run a successful business, but also to give them more ease and tell them, listen, once you get this done, you don't have to do it yourself all the time. There are so many apps now available. There are so many things that you can implement in your business to have more ease with it. It just takes this one step to stop avoiding it, and then this one look. Sometimes it's just one question, it's one registration, it's one email to a person, it's one Excel sheet that you set up, and then you fill it out or someone else fills it out. It's so easy once you get started. It's kind of getting the ball rolling and really ramping it up, because I noticed everyone that did classes with me or private sessions who did that, they doubled their business in a heartbeat, because they stop avoiding these things and they go out of this energy of being contracted and unwilling to look at things. And I want to bring people way more ease with all this heavy stuff. And I also want to educate them to educate themselves. I mean, there are so many resources out there. We are living in a digital world. You can Google basically everything. The moment you know what to ask for, you can Google a solution. And this is what I also want to invite people to engage more with these areas of a business, so they can find out online what's required. I actually want to educate them to be able to educate them themselves. It's so easy to get information, and sometimes you don't even need an account and you don't need to call someone. You just have to Google it. You just need to know what to ask for, and the information is there. And most of the times, it's so easy to get it done. Many of my clients that did classes with me went like, what? It's that easy? If I just had known that earlier. So that was one of the motivations I had to turn all what I know about businesses into a business academy. It will be a bit of education, but a lot more of motivation and having fun with all these things. I mean, you can be really creative in accounting. You can have fun with all of that. Even with taxes, you can have fun. And this is what I want to spread out to the world. Not just bringing fun back into your business, also having a little bit more fun with taxes, accounting, and rules and regulations.
Yeah, totally. Because I think a lot of the time when people hear about taxes or government agencies or whatever it is, they just switch off rather than becoming engaged and actually seeing, wow, I can actually be creative here and look at it in terms of creativity in accounting or creativity in bookkeeping or creativity in invoicing, whatever it may be, whatever part of the business that is. Because an area I see, like I do a lot of consultancy with small to medium-sized businesses, and often I see what they're avoiding actually prevents their business from growing. So it's like when they're not willing to look at a certain area, it actually stops their business, and it stops the whole business because there's one part of it they're not willing to do. And it's almost like taking the handbrake off your business and allowing your business to drive free.
I love that. Yeah, taking the handbrake off, removing the roadblock, and then, go in full creation mode, because then you're actually free to create, because then you also know there's nothing that can stop you. What I also noticed is a lot of very creative people, if they don't have their business set up in place, if they don't have their taxes set up and all the accounting, they always think they're doing something illegal. They're more like trying to hide so that nobody finds them, just in case they might be, and they don't even consider that everything they do is correct. So the way they limit themselves, what I love to say is they all try to fly below the radar so that nobody sees them. The idea of the Business Academy is to make yourself waterproof, to allow you to fly above the radar, so you are aware of everything, and then you have choice, and then you can create, and then we are talking. Because if you are willing to face even a tax audit, then you are there where I want to see you. You're not afraid. You're not hiding. You say, okay, this is what I did. I'm aware of this. Here are my papers. Here are my taxes. There is no need to be afraid of being audited. So this is more or less the energy I want to be out there. Let's do this, and let's set our businesses up so we can actually do what we love to do, facilitating and creating, rather than hiding and thinking we're doing something wrong.
Yeah, one thing I see is where people try and hide below the radar, it's like they hide away from their own customers. So the people who want to be customers can't actually see them. So it's it's willing to be your full power in the world and stepping into that at all times. Yeah.
You have to be willing to be seen by everyone, not only your customers, but maybe tax authorities, governmental bodies, or banks. They might become your customers as well. And it's like with the barriers up, you can't selectively hide from certain areas. If you're hiding, you're hiding.
So we're gonna cover this in more detail after the break.
Thank you.
No one needs to have a money problem, especially you.
Yeah, did you hear that? You have an unlimited and mostly unaccessed capacity to create money and a financial reality that works for you. Simone Milasas has a brand new book. It's called Getting Out of Debt Joyfully. And right now, when you go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com, if you pre-order the book, you'll get a free online course. What if you can create money in ways no one else can? Just go to gettingoutofdebtjoyfully.com to get your copy today.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Aloha, my name is Jennifer O'Neill, and I'd like to invite you to come join me every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Hawaii Standard Time for my show, Spirit Chat. Spirit Chat focuses on simplifying the process of using the spiritual tools and gifts you were born with in a way that fits into your everyday life. I also teach different techniques that will help you learn how to navigate the spirit realm and empower you on your own spiritual journey. So join me this Wednesday as I guide you through the spirit world.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Hello and welcome back. This is Paul Kearney here on the OMTimes Joy of Business radio show, and I'm joined by David Kubas, and we've been covering some really interesting topics in relation to business as a source of change in the world. And David, you were talking before the break about being in full creation mode with your business. What does that actually mean to you?
Being in full creation mode with your business means including each and every part of it, including the taxes, including the accounting, including the bookkeeping, including all those things that normally you don't enjoy doing. What people normally do, they avoid these things, and somehow they know they shouldn't, and this then creates this contracted energy. You know you should do something, you avoid it. You know there's something that might not be okay, you ignore it. So you try to create a big business, but at the same time you're holding yourself back. And this is the energy that keeps a lot of people from really creating big, from really being out there, because they kind of convey the energy of hiding. There's something they are not willing to look at. There's something that they are not willing to face themselves with, so they just ignore it. To run a small business or to turn a hobby into something that makes a little money, it works. It really works. And for those who don't want to change that, it's fine. I'm talking about real big business, a business where you can take anywhere, a business that allows itself to grow, so you allow it to grow. If you want to be that, if you want to be in full creation mode, you need to remove all these roadblocks and release the handbrakes of taxes and accounting. These are parts of life, what I call they're facts, they're given facts. There is actually no country in the world where you don't pay taxes if you run a business, and there is no business in the world that is actually fully functional and sustainable and successful without having financial awareness. And having financial awareness means having an accounting system in place. Including these areas and taking a look at it and knowing what's going on, this will actually turn you in the full creation mode, because that doesn't mean that you have to do it on your own. It doesn't mean that you have to add it on. A lot of people go, I don't like to do accounting. I'm so bored with taxes. You don't have to do it on your own. You just need to be aware of what's required, and then you make so much money that you actually pay someone who does it for you. And this is how your business can contribute to other businesses, because there are people out there who love to do what you avoid. So by asking these questions and by actually allowing yourself to look at those areas that are not fun for you, you can always invite people to take that part over for you, because for them, exactly what you don't like is fun for them. This is actually how your business can contribute to other businesses, and where you finally get your business to a stage where you allow yourself to do what's fun for you without limiting yourself, without limiting your business, and without limiting the growth of your business. If you want to take your business out there to the world, if you want to deal with companies, with corporations, everybody will need an invoice. Everybody will need to know who you are, what you are. And this is where you make yourself fit for the big business, by being ready, by knowing it, by not avoiding it. If someone asks you for your VAT number, if someone asks you for your tax number, if you go, oh, I don't have one, does that create engagement with big companies? Does that create growth? No, it doesn't. It's kind of these areas, I'd rather not go there because I'm not really sure how to deal with this. And this is actually what I included in all my businesses. I included all those parts that I was avoiding and that were not fun for me, and I turned them into something fun. I mean, this is the huge benefit of everybody who knows the tools of access consciousness. The tools of access consciousness are designed to turn heavy into light. So instead of avoiding everything that's heavy, why don't you just use one of the tools and see if that makes it lighter, if that adds some more fun to it, especially the joy of business. And it's full of tools how to turn heavy stuff from the business reality into fun stuff, how to add fun, but also how to turn things into fun. And I think this is the part that I like most. It's not just doing what's fun for you, it's adding what's fun for you and turning those things into fun stuff that were not fun before. That's the magical twist that I wanna share with everyone. You can turn everything of your business into fun if you use the right tools and if you're willing to take a look.
Yes, that's the secret sauce, isn't it? It's been able to do that transformation. Yeah.
Yes, it's about transforming things, and that's actually because if you know you can, whatever shows up in your business, whatever situation, whatever event, whatever happens, you know what tool to use, you know how to turn that around, you know how to handle it. Would you ever be afraid of something? Would you ever avoid something again in the future? No, you wouldn't. And then you went full creation mode because you know whatever shows up, you will be able to handle it.
Yeah, totally. And it's willing to be powerful. I saw a quote from Gary Douglas recently where he was saying people believe that if they're powerful, they're going to cause other people pain. And the thing is, it's actually the opposite. It's when you're not willing to be powerful and you're playing pathetic, then you end up being, you're not a contribution to you or to anybody else. And it's actually being willing to be powerful, be fully inclusive of every part of your business and knowing, okay, this person will do a brilliant job here because they love accounting. This person will do a brilliant job here because they love tax. And it's knowing what's required for your business and when to roll them in and when to roll them out and what they require to make an inclusive team that's cohesive and works well.
I know, and this is, there is for me, there is some kind of, I call it a greater goal behind all of that. If we look at what is going on in our world today, and if we look at the direction the world is heading, my point of view is, with a lot of money and with big and powerful businesses, it is way easier to create change on this planet. If we all had millions, we could just buy all the rainforest in Brazil and save it from being destroyed. If we would be powerful and had big businesses, we could influence politics. So the willingness to step up is required if we really want to change the planet. And that's also a fact. With money, it's easier. And with lots of money, you're more powerful. That's probably not how I would have designed our world if I could have, but it's a fact. Money makes our life easier. Money gives us power. So what could be the solution without ignoring those facts that exist? Well, conscious people should become rich and powerful because they won't cause damage. This is what I want to see more in the world. I want to see more conscious leaders out there being powerful and having money because they won't destroy the planet. They won't make choices that destroy others. So this is why I would love to empower those people who listen to this radio show to be willing to take that step. There is a reason for us to do this because we want to change the world. And the more powerful we are and the more money we have, the faster we will be able to change things. Money, I love the quote from Gary Douglas about the golden rule. Who has the gold makes the rules. Well, then let's get some gold and make new rules that the planet is less destroyed. That's my point of view. And with a strong and powerful business with lots of money, we all can create that.
Yeah, totally, and that's how business can be the source of change in the world. And it's a place where it's for more consciousness on the planet for everybody, and it's actually including everybody, including every creation, so that it becomes greater, and allowing that to show up on the planet. Yeah,
business,
I love it.
Business is the change, the source of change and creation, because everybody loves it, everybody needs it. It is part of our society. It rules the world. Everything is about business. So also looking at all the things that we don't like about business is done today, I don't avoid it. I educate myself on what's going on. Then I change it. Then I know what question to ask. And the best way to use your business as a source for change is make it grow and be different. If you run a business with 200 employees and you train those employees to have the same mindset as you, being conscious, being aware, asking questions, would our planet be different in the future? It would. I mean, it's good to start with yourself. And if you run a one-man show or a one-woman show, it's great. But can you imagine the change we could create if businesses with 2,000-3,000 employees would have that mindset? That's what I'm looking at. And then we can talk about how business can be the source of change.
Yeah, totally. It's an exciting topic, because it's like more so than ever the planet requires it, because like we can't continue to treat the planet as we are. And you were speaking, David. It may be in the next section that we'll cover about it, but I'd be interested to hear more about. You were saying about the world requires conscious leaders. What are conscious leaders?
Well, conscious leaders are those who are not only interested in themselves and a short-term profit. Conscious leaders always look at the long-term sustainable future, and they are including everyone. They are including nature, they are including profit, and they are including themselves. So that's a whole different way of what leaders are defined as today. Today, you need to have a good result for your next annual accounts, and most of the time, business leaders are gone after 2 years, so they have a very short-term perspective.
Yeah, so we'll cover that in a bit more detail after the commercial break, because I look forward to hearing more about conscious leadership. It sounds interesting.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Tune in to the Practical Intuitive, Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World with me, host Robin Fritz, Mondays at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern. I'll cover personal and business intuition, animal communication, mediumship, space clearing, past life regression, shamanic insights, energy healing, soul choice, and more, all to help you tap your own intuitive and healing skills. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Host your show on IOM-FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM-FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Putting the fun back in business. Wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, repeat. Business, work, your job, hate it, bored, want to leave it? Or business, work, your job, fun, play, joy, fun. Which would you like to choose? You may not know this, but business, your job, work can actually be fun. Shake up your business routine. Check out my 3-part free video series on putting the fun back in business. Go to accessjoybusiness.com/fun and put the fun back in business.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello, everybody. This is Paul Kearney here, and I'm joined by David Kubas. And David, we were just talking before the break about conscious leadership, and I was quite interested in your comment in relation to they're looking at long-term sustainability rather than short-term profit, which is often the case in business. Could you speak a bit more about that, please?
Oh yes, leadership, one of my favorite topics. If you are willing to be the leader, you have to lead your business, you have to lead your life. You are leading and you are not following. Leading means going into zones of uncomfort and going where no one else has gone yet so far. And it's the willingness to be different, especially in business. When we are looking at creating a business, we need to have a global perspective. We need to be willing to look at the far future, not just at our lifetime future. So the question is, what will this project, what will this company, what will this be, even when I'm not here anymore? So it's taking your business, your decisions, and your vision beyond your lifetime. That's what a conscious leader does, because this is the only way that we can actually include the planet. We will be gone one day for sure, but planet Earth will be here. And this is what a conscious leader does. He takes his decisions beyond his lifetime, more or less saying. So they always include nature. They also include profit, but they try to maximize possibilities and not just profit. Possibilities includes profit, but if you maximize profit, you exclude possibilities and you exclude nature. So conscious leaders turn that around. They are willing to see how everything can be greater, and they are looking how to maximize the possibilities and not just profit. And they have the willingness to create a future that doesn't exist yet. So they always are one step ahead of everyone else. And this is why most of the times people don't understand them. And this is the essential part. As a benevolent, as a conscious leader, you lead, you don't look for followers. So you don't want others to understand you. You invite them to join you, but you don't want them to understand you because you know what you want to create. That's my definition of a conscious or of a benevolent leader, as Gary Douglas said when he created benevolent capitalism, one of my favorite chapters in Access Consciousness.
Yeah, it's such a different perspective than what's out there presently, where it's like people are like, I'm the boss, and it's like, everybody follow me, you do what I tell, and that's the thing. And it actually disempowers people so much, and it's a challenge that you see with corporations a lot, where they're looking for more creativity, they're looking for more spontaneity, but by the way they have their business structured, they can't actually create that. So it ends up creating something completely different. And I know one of the projects that you're involved with, David, is the Castello di Castelborgone in Italy, which is really looking at 500 years and 1,000 years in the future. Could you just speak to people a little bit about what that project is and how it works?
Well, the Castello di Castelborgone, it's a 1,000-year-old castle that was kind of abandoned. It was there for 1,000 years, and 40 years ago, the owner of the castle, for private reasons, closed down, and it was about to fall into pieces and being destroyed. And Gary Douglas and some other investors decided to buy it and bring it back to life and create a small boutique hotel and event location there. It's a beautiful area. It's a place that exists for already thousands of years, and the way it was restructured, we made sure that it will be there for another 500 years at least. We didn't modernize it. We brought it back to the beauty it was. So we tried to use at least technology as possible. There are no TVs in the rooms. It's more an invitation to be in communion with nature and yourself. So all the places in the castle, even the gardens, they're an invitation to enjoy nature, to enjoy yourself. We have two Lebanese cedar trees in the front of the castle. They are 500 years old. They are called mother trees. Sitting under these trees and just being there, looking into the valley of Casalbagone, it is so nurturing. It is such a beauty. And then you will actually find out what's the value, what's the luxury of that place. It's the silence. It's the silence of the place. We don't have that anymore. We are so used to be distracted and entertained all the time. Everywhere there is music, everywhere there's noise. Suddenly you are enjoying silence. So these are the beauties around there. And if you want to create a place that values silence, that values beauty, you have to be willing to be different. Having no TVs is quite challenging nowadays because everybody is so used to come home, turn on the TV, and suddenly you have a place where there is no TV. So being willing to go there and saying, okay, maybe a lot of people won't choose to stay in our small boutique hotels because there are no TVs. At the same time, we are reminding people, hey, there is more than watching TV. You can look at nature, you can create, you can read a book. Instead of putting TVs in the rooms, we reactivated a library. The library of the castle is from 1680, and there are books from that year. Have you ever touched a book from 1680? Have you seen it? Have you touched it? Have you perceived the energy? A book that's so old. At the castle, you can go there and you can touch it. It's not a museum where you can only look at. That's what was also very important for us. Everything is there, all the antiques. They're an invitation to be used, to engage with them, to touch them. You can actually start reading that book. So this is the invitation. We want to be there, and it's very, very different. And you cannot compare it to standard 5-star luxury from a Marriott hotel or Intercontinental. We didn't want to create that. The luxury of Castello di Casalbagone is the experience you have. We're not entertaining you. You will be able to experience something that you cannot experience anywhere else. So this is the place that we created there. And it's, people call we are futurists. We are not following what people want. Exactly. We are not following what people want. We are leading. We're leading into a new future, into a future where we honor ourselves a little bit more, where we go away from being entertained, more into choosing what really works for us. So this is a brilliant example how being different is sometimes not the easiest way, because a lot of people have their judgments about what we should have done to make more money. But also it's not about making money, it's about creating a different future. And it will make money, but it's not the only purpose. So this is where it all comes together of you need to be willing to look at the long-term result you're creating, also financially. Everybody who respects an immediate return of a project, they should go somewhere else. They should go to the bank and put the money and get interests. So it's also required when it comes to yourself and to your investments. The question is, what do you want to create on a long-term run and not just short-term?
Yeah, and it's willing to put your head above the parapet and say, hey, we're different. And it's like Simone Molasses, who's the founder of Joy of Business, was saying that they met a guy and he was asking them what their exit strategy was for Access Consciousness. So basically, your exit strategy is where you develop a business and you sell it after 3 years and you make 100 million or whatever it is. And like he realized after a while, he said, wow, these guys don't want to exit it. It's like they're doing something that they love. They're changing the world. And it's like, it's not conventional business. And it's like, everything that Access Consciousness does and that Gary Douglas does, it isn't conventional, but it creates more. And it's like, it's those possibilities that create more. And I'm just curious, David, how that links into your full creation mode and how managing these projects for Gary helps you to change your life and create more in your life.
Well, for me, it's brilliant to see that it works, and it's actually great to have someone that they have my back. I mean, there is nothing when you work for someone who says, okay, we can't really make a mistake. We can just choose when another choice is required. This created a freedom in my world and allowed me to implement that in my other projects that I'm running, in my law firm, in my trading business, in my real estate business. So I actually could see how much fun that is and how it really works. Because once you get over that limitation, once you stop avoiding, once you start choosing, then we're talking about full creation. And this is what I could actually experience by running these projects for Gary and Dane. They just did it, and I could experience how easy it was. So for me now, it's easy to teach, get over your point of view and face the uncomfortable and just get it done, because I know it works. I experienced it by myself. And this is why I want everybody else to get there too, to inspire them to just do it. It's like this jumping off the cliff and knowing you won't crash. You will expand your wings and start flying. It's just this one. Freedom is one choice away. It's this one step you need to take. It's overcome that limitation once, and you'll never go back. And that's the greatest part of that. Once you've experienced it, you don't go back. No way to ever go back again.
Yeah, and the thing is, the other side of it is so limited that you never would, because now you've experienced something different, and you're like, wow, I'm not going back yet.
Yeah, and that's the invitation,
yeah.
To change the future, and knowing that choosing for you will always create more. So you don't need an exit strategy. You don't need a fallback procedure. There's just one way, and that's forward in full creation mode.
Yes, all the time. Yeah, very good. And I'm aware, David, that you have to go to another appointment. So I'm just wondering, for all the listeners, is there one take-home point that you would give to people from this call today?
Yes, every change is just one choice away. So choose it and go for it.
Brilliant. Thanks, David. Fantastic.
Thank you, Paul.
What do you hate about business? And do you want to change it? If you don't want to change anything about your job or business, stop listening. You're all good. If you'd like to have money just for the fun of it and stop the negative self-talk, check out Joy of Business. This is about knowing what you know about business and creating more than you can imagine. Access Joy of Business 101 classes offered around the world. Go to accessjoyofbusiness.com/101.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living, a chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me, and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Paul Kearney here on the OMTimes Joy of Business radio show, and that was pretty incredible. So we had David Kubis on for the last three sections, and he was speaking about a number of things that were very, very interesting. The topic was how business can be a source of change. But one of the topics that he touched on was conscious leadership, and basically it's about willing to be the leader in your own life. So not having to have followers, not having to look for validation or approval, but being willing to go there yourself, so that you're going to go there no matter what. So a lot of the time in business at present, you have leaders and you have followers. So businesses look to create one leader and then everybody follows them, and they're the leader. Remember what David was saying was actually creating a place where everybody is leaders, so they can lead and create themselves. So it's looking at areas that are different and saying, okay, how can I create more here, and what will work for me in this situation, and being continually willing to be in the question and seeing what's required there. Because I found it quite a fascinating conversation, because his point was that as the world is changing, more conscious leadership is required, that we have to look beyond ourselves, look beyond our lifestyle, beyond our lifetime, and actually see what will work for us in the future, in 500 years, in 1,000 years, in 2,000 years, in 3,000 years, in 5,000 years. And people will say, oh, but you won't be around. But the thing is, your actions today create tomorrow. So it's being willing to be conscious in your choices and actually see what creates more. So what creates more in terms of the environment, in terms of nature, in terms of people, in terms of culture, in terms of community, in terms of every aspect. So it's fully inclusive, so it includes everything. So there's no point that is not captured. So it's capturing all these points and knowing, yes, this is important for me, and then being willing to acknowledge that and saying, okay, how can I create more? Because it was interesting, one of the points that David was saying was that it was one of the first reasons that he started in business was that he wanted to have money so he could do things himself. So rather than have to be dependent on his parents or dependent on his grandparents, he could actually go out and create things himself. And that actually ended up creating a lot more. So it's looking and seeing. Then from there, he was always willing to learn about what's required. As he was speaking about the Business Academy, so the Business Academy is going to be a resource that's open to everybody. So it'll be accessjoyofbusiness.com /Business Academy. And the Business Academy then has information in relation to running your business, setting up your business, if you want to expand your business, if you want to internationalize your business, if you want to bring your business into different areas, then it looks at that and will give you detailed recommendations in terms of how you do that, and also what information you require. Because as David was saying earlier on in relation to the digital economy, there's so much information now available that all you need to do is know what to look for, and a lot of the information is readily available. It's not like 50 or 100 years ago where you had to go to a library or you had to go to a university to try and find a book that had the information. It's now freely available and every piece of information is there, but it's knowing what to look for and actually having the ability to discern, okay, this is what I need to know here, this is what I require here. And sometimes it's just a simple piece of information can create so much more, because once you get it done, then it moves on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and the business continues to grow. Because if there's something that you're avoiding or you're trying to hide, then it stops the business. So it's actually knowing what's required for your business and asking the question, okay, business, what do you require today? And just asking, will the joy of business be a contribution to your business and to your life and to your living? Because a lot of the time with these tools, when we utilize them, they create so much more in every area in our life, in the most unusual way. Things show up that you could never have thought possible. And it's learning that and seeing that and actually trusting that. Because as David was saying, he's willing to trust it completely because he's seen it work so many times where the universe provides. So you ask a question, and as you ask the question, then the universe provides. You have to be willing to choose and do whatever it takes to bring that into fruition. So whatever is required, and then following that energy and seeing, hey, what's required here? Because as you come across different situations and your life expands, you're going to meet new situations, you're going to see new things, you're going to see things that are different, and it's actually looking and saying, okay, wow, what's required here? What's required here? How does it get any better than that? And as you ask the questions, more and more shows up. So it's actually learning to trust yourself and then choosing to trust yourself, because when you choose to trust yourself, other people don't have power over you. It's you are making the choices for you. So it's knowing, okay, this is required here, this is required here, this is required here, and then it's trusting that you know. Because the mantra of Access Consciousness is empowering people to know that they know. So from that means that you actually know what works for you. And when you trust yourself, you have so much more power, because you are now incredibly powerful, because you create everything in your life, the good, the bad, the ugly. So all the aspects, you create them. And when you're willing to look at it from a place of conscious leadership and see what creates more, then you can actually see, okay, this is required here, this is required here, and you trust your awareness. It may not make logical sense per se, under the laws of this reality, but this reality is a constructed reality, and it's bought in by people all contriving it together. So when you choose something different is going to show up. And it doesn't show up the way you think it's going to show up. It may show up in a completely different way. But once you're willing to know that you're willing to be that powerful, then anything can show up and anything can become possible. And it's actually looking and saying, okay, what's required here, what's required here, what's required here. So it's a very exciting project, and it's called the Business Academy from Joy of Business, and you'll get more information on accessjoyofbusiness.com. And I think it's going to be really exciting, because I can see a lot of people creating multi-million pound and multi-billion pound businesses from here, because as you grow, everybody is the CEO of their own company, and it's willing to actually see how big you want to make your company. Are you willing to have 100 million? Are you willing to have 1 billion? Are you willing to have 100 billion? What would it take to have $100 billion company? What energy would you have to be? What joy would you have to be? And the reason I say what joy would you have to be is because money follows joy. So when you're actually willing to be joyful to the tune of 100 billion, then 100 billion starts to show up, and it might only start with 10 cents or it might only start with 20 cents, but that continues to accumulate and grow, and it's continually planting seeds. So as you plant seeds, then more and more things can grow, and it's allowing that to grow and change and develop. And then seeing what else would you like to create, what else would you like to add to your life, because it's never taking away from your life, it's always looking to add to your life. So add more to your life and see what else can I add to my life, what else would be fun for me, what else would be joyful. And it's remembering when you were a little child and seeing, oh wow, I love to do this or I love to do that, and then we become an adult and we stop and we think, oh, I have to stop now because I'm an adult. What if you never had to stop? What if you just continue doing your business all the time, growing your business, growing your life, growing every aspect of your life, so that it actually grows and becomes greater and becomes bigger, so that business becomes a source of change in the world, but you actually become the source of change. So you are that source of change, that source of growth, that source of beauty, and knowing that you can change absolutely anything that you want in your life. So, I'm very excited about the Business Academy and what it can offer to the world and what it can offer to the future of businesses all over the world. Because more and more we're seeing a trend towards solo entrepreneurship or small businesses, and that's exciting because people can create from their sitting room, from their living room, from anywhere. And as you're willing to create, it's just following it and saying, okay, what's required next? What's required next? What's required next? And it could end up being a massive company like Apple, and it just literally started from two guys wanted to build a better computer. And it's from small acorns, great oak trees grow, and it's knowing what's required next, what's required next, what's required next, and what does my life require and what does my business require. Because it's always interesting to see what shows up. Because when you make a choice, something shows up. And it can show up in the most unusual way or the most peculiar way, but the universe has your back. And once you're willing to trust that and be the source of creation in your life, then you can create anything. You can create whatever you desire to create and be the superhero of your life. So it's knowing, okay, what's required here, what's required here, what's required here. And what's required to grow your business, grow your life, grow your living, grow your enjoyment, grow every aspect so that life does become the adventure of living that Simone Molasses speaks about, that it's like every day it can be a joy. So thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.